So we're back to working on FE build number 1, and as you can see, it's been a little busy on the truck. It's starting to look like a truck again. And tonight we're working on putting in the power steering cooler. It's a little bit big, but it'll look nice under there, and it goes with all the aluminum and the chrome. And we're also going to switch the fuel, or not the fuel injection, but the power steering lines over to AN hose. So I got my goodies for doing that, and there's the hose over there. And then the other thing we got, but I'm going to make a design change, and we'll talk about that right now, is we're going to set up our 4-link and make it adjustable. And I got this a la carte, as they call it, 4-link kit. And I don't like one of its design pieces. I really wish, they obviously haven't cleaned the inner fenders yet, but that'll happen. I really wish they'd have drilled through and put the bolt in that way instead of just welding it. So it's sitting here totally in shear on the weld, and I just don't trust that, especially with the kind of torque this thing's going to make, and with drag radials on the back, it's going to hook. So we're going to remake these, and I'll shoot that video while we're doing that. But tonight, I got to get down in here and figure out where to run these power steering lines and where to mount the cooler. And right now, it's looking like we're going to put the cooler just behind the bumper between the frame horns here. Okay, so I'm shooting on the phone tonight. Here's the ends of the frame. One's right here. And of course, the other one is right over here. And we're going to fit this cooler right up in here. Now, this keeps it out of the way and under the truck. It's behind the bumper enough that kind of hides the sway bar. And if anybody looks under at it, it's just another nice shiny piece of aluminum under here. So what I got to figure out is where we're going to mount it. And then rather to attach on, let me move the camera. I may have to attach one of these little corners right here, which is part of where the Vic chassis was spliced into the truck. This is the truck's original frame horns out here, and then the Vic chassis starts here, and this is a little piece of channel welded in for something to bolt to. Basically holds up the core support and the front bumper. So this was really kind of started before everybody started using the aluminum front ends out of the later model Vics. Okay, so we need to make some kind of bracket to mount this cooler. And this is another scrap bin piece. Never throw your scrap metal away. If it's more than a 1/2 inch long, keep it. You will use it at some point. And that's what's going on here. And this fits in here beautifully. So what we got to do now is get our length right, because this piece is too short to fit in the frame of the truck. But we got this extra little scrap piece of the same stuff. So what we're going to have to do is chop it off across here to get a smooth edge. This will give us a place to put 2 bolts. And we've already got 2 holes in the frame under here on both sides. So they aren't showing up very good. There you go. That's a pretty good shot of them. They're right there. And then there's another pair right over there. They're pretty visible. And that's where we'll mount that bracket. And that'll put our transmission cooler right along here. We needed 33.5 inches, and we got this extra piece. So if you see this line right here, we're going to tack this together. Well, he's going to tack it together. I'm going to let him do this part. And put it in chop saw and cut it right through the line. And that'll make this piece and this piece match, except this piece is upside down. So he's going to have to be short of these square. And then weld it from the back side, and now trim off along this line to get rid of this hole here. And now we got plenty of meat on each end to drill for our 2 holes in the chassis on both sides, and we can mount it and run it all the way across. Then the cooler fits in here, as I said a few minutes ago, and I turned the camera the wrong way a little bit there. But then the cooler will sit right in here, and if we need to, we'll make some 1/8 inch tabs to go across right where the little mountain footies are. And then there's the two holes for the tubes for the power steering lines, and then they'll just go on up through here as necessary to get to the top of the steering box. And we're going to go straight to the cooler, not through the radiator on this one. But we're not in a really cold climate. or really ridiculously hot climate here in the mid-Atlantic. So this should be just fine.